Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back. A little bit earlier, you probably saw a video with SpudTuber. He was in his Cheeto SP on this very map, on this very spawn. And he had a situation where a couple of his strong tanks went into the valley. And I mentioned a little bit about scouting on this map and that I had a video or a replay where a bunch of people went to the valley on my team. So I do have that, and this is it. We'll also talk a little bit of the scouting stuff that I covered in that video, or mentioned very briefly anyway at the last. So I'm in the Manticore. I have a couple options on Lakeville for initial scouting. I do not recommend going into the valley. We discussed that on the other video. There are some opportunities to get up in the bush and maybe spot some stuff in the back and get some artillery shots, but I think you're just well more useful somewhere in the middle of the map, either on the middle road, which is one of the more dangerous spots, or down here in these bushes along here, or even if you get really aggressive and push up into the bushes here. This one is easy to get out spotted on by either their guys pushing up themselves or sitting in their bushes, or even one of their guys on the middle. So the tanks that can kind of do that are going to be the really high camo tanks like the Manticore or the ELC. So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to try to get into the middle right here. I'll show you how I like to do this. There's a bush here. It is, once again, one of the most obvious bushes known to man. The other thing to watch out for is, see that fence? If you're an artillery, or even somebody who can zoom in enough and kind of see that, you'll know someone's in there because the fence will be knocked down. Also, if you're an Object 268.5 and you're that far on the back of the map, or an Object 780, you probably know somebody's pushed up pretty hard to see you right there. So you may be clicking this general area. The thing you got to watch out for is people are going to show up here. If another scout, and the problem is with the south spawn, they can get aggressive on this road and they get to this rock because they can hide behind it and be relatively safe. So they'll see you as they come around. We're going to have that situation here pretty quickly. So I find this position to be nice early on. I get a little bit of spotting out of it. 452. Some of the snippers get shots. One of the things they need to watch out for is if they're shooting from there and it looks like there's shots coming in. It looks like that's interesting. I wonder if somebody is thinking I'm here. Or is maybe that, oh, that might have been the Leopard hitting the wall, trying to hit one of those guys. That's probably what happened right there. If they pushed up into these bushes, all right, about hither, then if you move around, they're going to see you, all right? Or if you shoot, and if you're them, you can get spotted as well. All right. So I see the Manticore, and that's unfortunate. So he tries to get in that bush, but somebody sees him. Looks like maybe our Tessac. And I'm watching this. I should have bailed earlier, or maybe made a move for there, but I thought maybe I could get a free shot and then make a move, but he immediately sees me, which sucks. It takes me a while to get my gun on him, and I actually take a hit from him, but I get away with it. I get missed, and he doesn't do damage. He just hit my track, so very lucky right there. All right, scouts. I've been made, right? My cover is blown. I've been burned. I need to get out of here. Going to be not that easy, but check out what I was talking about at the beginning of this as far as my team, and I mentioned that in the video. I said something like 2/3 to 3/4, and that's easily 2/3 of my team. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of us over here, and one of them is an artillery. Holy macaroni. What an absolute mess we have going on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. All right, 6. So maybe it's not quite 2/3, but you get the picture, right? There's a significant number of my tanks in the middle. So we've got to flex. Play the game you have, not the one you want. I really wish I had more people in the town, but now I'm just going to have to sit back and see what I can do in terms of spotting to help the team deal with the guys that are going to be hanging out, or not hanging out, but coming through the town. So we're going to go right here. My concern is allowing people to just come up the middle road unopposed. I don't want that. Because once they push up on this road far enough, they start spotting the guys that are sitting back in these bushes when they fire, and then everyone has shots on them. So if I can keep them honest, make sure nobody's coming through this road right here. So we'll just get into this bush the best we can. At least we'll know they're coming. I'm not really going to be able to stop anybody that is very intent on pushing, but maybe I can get them lit and get them hit a few times. The Tessac has already got them lit coming out of town, so I don't need to go over there where he is. That's another thing with scouting, guys. You got to pay attention to the entire map. Pay attention to where your tanks are. Know the spotting lines, and there's no sense in adding yourself to a spotting line that's already covered. You'll notice that the guys in the valley are sort of, it looks like maybe winning, so we're going to hold on to this thing. Those guys are getting torn up, pushing in. Unfortunately, they get too close to the Tessac, and he's got to run. So I'm going to help there. Oops, nope. I'm just going to courtesy run away. I don't know if I'm going to get spotted there. I didn't. Power slide back in. Come up, make sure nobody's pushed up in that time. Oh crap, here comes an IS-7. This is what I'm talking about. I do not want this guy up underneath us there. So there he is. He backs off. We're just going to have to watch him. If he makes a push, I'm going to have to do a runner. Okay, we get a piece of him. I'm absolutely spotted there. I'm just glad that the enemy team is busy shooting a lot of other things right now. So we bail out of there. Keep moving around a little bit. If the IS-7 pushes, I don't want to be sitting out in the open, so we're just going to fall back this away. The Leopard is sitting there for a minute, so let's swing around here. I thought about swinging back, getting up onto that hill for shots. They're 268.5 dies, so let's just go all the way back around. I want to get back onto this north A column up here, or A line. I'd love to go find the object and maybe get some spots on the IS-7 for these dudes. So we'll swing around this way. Fairly confident I'm not going to be seen by the IS-7. Come up here, take a peek. What's he doing? Nope, he's behind a rock. All right, I need a better angle. Maybe I still need to or can get rid of the 780. Artie is shooting at the Leopard, so let's not be around where he is. I was kind of hoping I could get sort of close to this object 780. I'm going to use this down tree. First I'm going to kind of look. Don't see him. Concept's moving. All right, now we got two guys in the middle. You notice that our valley push, this is what I talked about in the other video, they're pushing but they don't have any support from the other way, so the enemy team is free to just sit there. We have to get rid of these three dudes so we can get around behind them and help that push before it dies. Push is trying to drive out and up from bad terrain. I'd love to get this 268.5. If I get the, or 780, I mean, if I get this 780 out of the way, then we're going to have more freedom over here to move around and work on these guys. In fact, if we can get into the town, then we got great side shots on these dudes. I'll put a shot on him. I think that actually gets me spotted. It does. So I've got to try to think skinny here, and hopefully one of them doesn't have an angle. IS-7, Concept 5 kind of sitting there. We still have the guys on the A row doing some okay work. Leopard looks like maybe he's thinking about pushing in, which would be nice. There he goes. So let's go support that guy. Okay, there we go. Get a shot on his turret. 380. Didn't get seen. That was nice because his spotting point wasn't looking at me. Notice how I saw the back of his turret, but the spotting point on the top of it, or the front gun, was not free of the line of sight to me from the rock. So it was still behind the rock. I saw him. He didn't see me. Concept gets nuked. Very good. IS-7's trying to get away. Tracked him. Got some assist out of it. 735 on the track. That's very nice. I'll take it. Cranks me up to 1,500 damage, 2,100 assist. Still trying to kill this IS-7. Get rid of this guy. We're in good shape. Although notice, the push was premature, fellas. This is what I'm talking about. It got tore up. We're looking good at 6 and 4, but I have a bad feeling we're about to lose the rest of the guys that are in the valley because they're going to push them. There's only 2 there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemy tanks that have not been threatened from behind at all, so to speak. So if they'd just held that for a while, we'd be in a lot better shape. Because now most of our power is now coming from the other direction. If they kill off that 705A, they're then free to spin around and attack us from only one direction, or defend from only one direction. We'll shoot that guy back out. That got me lit, so let's just hide. There's no artillery left. It was about that time I started to remember there was a 13105 somewhere. That's why I was swinging around to go find him, but they found him anyway. And now I'm seeing that we got a problem back at the cap, so I'm just going to go back. To be honest, I'd rather see the entire team turn around. But what's interesting here is the enemy team has a bad decision to make. There's not as many of them. They know there's a big push coming from this direction. They did win the valley, but does that mean they all push down valley and attempt to cap? And the cap's not easy to hold when there's this many tanks left. Our entire team pushes, and I don't think many of them hang out. In fact, you can see the 50B and the Kron have pushed. So what I want to avoid now is a cheesy free win from them by them pushing the cap and jumping on. Notice the Foch has come back. That makes me feel better. That means I don't have to be the damage guy, so I'm just going to come around here and try to sneak into these bushes right here, and I'll just be the spotting guy for the Foch. Nobody's going to come down the middle road, at least not for a while. Our team does a nice job cleaning up the ones that stayed. So they split their power, whereas they were all in one place doing a good job over there. Then they split their power because they were given a bad decision, one or the other way to go. They ended up having 2 guys go one way and the rest of them hang out. Our power got onto their weakness, took them out. Now we just have the 50B and the Kron. I could push in and look for a shot, but I'll just let them do this because they actually show up. So we put a shot on him. Make it at least a little difficult for him to shoot me. He gets nuked. There's the Kron. Kron dies. Actually, the CS-63 got up onto the hill, shot him in the back, and we end up with both a cap, I believe, and a kill all. All cap, all kill, all. Not your standard, or maybe it is now, guys. I don't know. Maybe this is now the Lakeville standard. Is that the way you win Lakeville? You put a huge force into the valley, strength on strength, because they had a huge force in the valley. We dealt with their push through the city, which was foolish in that it continued to push through the city into a bunch of camping guys, which we cleaned up, came back around, pushed them from the other direction. Then they split because they had a bad decision to make, and we ended up winning in what looked like a fairly easy win, but was quite nip and tuck for a long time on this one. Valley of the Noobs, guys. What is it? What is it? Go to the valley now? Is that the correct move, or is it a it depends? It's always an it depends, but I'm more thinking of initial positioning, where you would go. That's the first question. Obviously, we always react to what's going on in the game, as far as whether we fall back and kind of do what I did and hang out, or continue to push, all that good stuff. But what's the initial move on Lakeville? That is all I've got for today. Have a great one. See ya.